lovers, the moon is a thing of beauty. But to this man it is a deadly curse. When the moon is full, this miserable wretch turns into a hairy, snarling half-man, half-beast. Prowls the night, his fangs thirsty for human blood. He is a werewolf.
Welcome to the Werewolf by Night podcast, the show where we talk about Marvel's #1 lycanthrope, Jack Russell, a.k.a. the Werewolf, a.k.a. the Beast, a.k.a. the Shaggy One, a.k.a. Jimmy. I'm your co-host, Matt Howell.
And I'm Jacob Balcom.
And we have an esteemed guest here this week, Matt Merrill-Lowry. Hi, Matt.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, guys.
Yes, thanks for coming on. So we wanted to have you on to talk about your Kickstarter campaign, which just launched a day or two ago.
Yep.
And we're really excited about it. I've read some of your other work. I've read Lifeformed that you published through Dark Horse, and I'm a huge fan of that, as is my daughter. And I'm hoping you just tell us a little bit about what the campaign is now.
Yeah, for sure. So the campaign is for Thoughtscape Comics #1, which is the first in a series that is basically an anthology with stories written by me and drawn and inked and lettered and colored and all that goodness by a bunch of amazing artists. It's a sci-fi deal. It's sort of in the 2000 AD Twilight Zone Black Mirror realm. We've got the plan, and what we've got in issue 1 is a couple ongoing stories, ongoing serials, and then a couple short stories that are self-contained. And so, so the plan is for each issue to be sort of like a nice, decent 44-page-ish thing of comics. And then right now I'm looking at like quarterly if the Kickstarter stuff works out. But yeah, that's where it's at. And I don't know, mostly it's a place for me to experiment a little bit outside of like that, the really graphic novel, 200-page long form deal that was live formed, and work with a bunch of different great artists, because there are so many of them out there. So, it's came out really nice. I've got material for issues 2 through 4, either complete or in progress. And if the Kickstarter takes off, hopefully we can make that all happen.
So how does that work when you want it to be an ongoing quarterly or something like that? Is the plan how does that get funded, or what's the cycle? Would it be further campaigns in the future, or are you hoping to get it picked up, or what's the ultimate goal?
I think my ultimate goal is just Kickstarter is a little bit of an experiment because it's the first one I've done. I have, outside of Lifeformed and even with Lifeformed, it's hard to tell like what sort of audience is out there so far for my stuff. And so it's a little bit of a test to see how it will go. But I'm envisioning basically a campaign for each issue. If things were to go really well, maybe funding a batch of them in a campaign versus doing one at a time. I feel like a campaign a quarter feels a little arduous for everyone involved, including the backers. Mm-hmm. So if it looks like there is an appetite for it and we can do, a bigger chunk and, fund 2 at a time or 4 at a time, that'd be wonderful. So I think at this point, I would certainly never not be interested in discussing somebody picking it up, but I am happy with like just being in control of it and having like complete flexibility to do whatever I want and pull in whoever I want to work on it and write whatever I want and edit it myself. It's a great, like the amount of learning I've done putting this thing together has been huge. Working with Cassie was amazing, but we kind of got to a point where I just knew I would write a script for her and like I could picture it within 90%, and then she makes it like 20% better than what I even pictured. And it was just sort of like, for me at least, it felt sort of like telepathic. It was just like, it just kind of came out exactly as envisioned. And so that's great. But I didn't really have much experience working with any other artists. And so I've just learned a ton working with different people whose approaches, vary drastically. Some folks, thumbnail layouts, you can barely tell what they are. And then other folks go really detailed and just at every step of the process, there's it's different. And so you're working with different personalities. It's a lot of fun. And so I wouldn't want to take that part away. And I've also seen a lot of folks who take projects to publishers that they've started on their own and then end up taking them back from those publishers and just continuing them on themselves again. So I feel like maybe the time is right to just sort of run with it on my own. So I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's a great and it's been creatively super satisfying, and I wouldn't want to endanger that, I guess, at all, if that was a thing. So yeah.
Jacob and I, listeners, got to read this issue press copy. So we're going to speak a little bit to it, but not too in depth there. But I was just blown away by the brilliance of the setup. I feel like you created this perfect little world, this entire scenario where you can do what you're doing, which is spin off these little stories. Some of them are ongoing, some of them are just one-offs, and it seems like just a world where you can just drop characters in and it writes itself. That's insulting to writers, but I mean, it's so rich and it feels like it's lived in, and you've thought and lived in that world in your head for a while, and so you can write in it, and it's very it's got a lot of verisimilitude, I guess. Does that make sense?
Cool, totally. And that was, I really wanted it to feel like I guess super lived in, and I wanted it to be a platform where any kind of story could happen. Which is something that I love about the Twilight Zone or it's any type of a funny story can be in the Twilight Zone, a completely dead serious horror story can be in the Twilight Zone, and anything in between. And so the premise, which is basically that at some point in time, there's a company that discovers that they can record people's thought, or access people's thoughts in a sort of fifth dimension, and record those thoughts and play them back and all that kind of thing. And so any story or any thought that's ever been out there is fair game for a story, is sort of how it plays out. Which, as you said, writing itself isn't too insulting. It makes sense. A good premise sort of generates a healthy environment or fertile environment for stories to be, plucked from. So, so I'm glad that worked. It was, there's a lot of, influence from Dune and stuff in there, the little prologue-y pieces in the chapters of Dune. Mm-hmm. And then all the stuff I think that we grew up reading comics wise, all the back matter in Watchmen, all the, those super fleshed out worlds. I know you and I don't necessarily agree on it, but Grendel or, any of that kind of stuff. There's just rich worlds that you can mine for the big stories. And those are kind of what I'm tackling in the ongoing serial pieces. And then down to the smallest little thing that's, just some weird story based on some little piece of technology or something. So, yeah.
It's really, really great. And I think tonally, it definitely reminded me of early 2000 AD, cool. Ballad of Halo Jones era, the great era. And that it really brought that to mind, especially Ballad of Halo Jones in great ways.
Sweet.
And so was 2000 AD kind of the anthology that would have influenced this the most?
Pretty much. When I grew up, let's see. So this is whenever Dark Horse first was on the scene, they had Dark Horse Presents, which was sort of maybe the first anthology I ever saw, I would guess, because I was 11 or 12 maybe. But about 3 years ago, I think, I started reading Rogue Trooper, which was a 2000 AD property. And after, seeing it when I was a kid, I would go to the store and see the posters up there and think that Rogue Trooper just looked badass. And I wanted to read that, but I felt like it was a little bit adult or something, which not really, but and so I went through all that Rogue Trooper stuff, and then I started diving into like the Halo Jones and the back stuff in 2000 AD and the collections, and then I started reading the current ongoing issues, and yeah, I mean, like I was just super taken with it. Like it feels, I guess, I don't know, dangerous is not the right word, but it feels different than American comics. It feels like they're going for a whole different vibe. They're willing to take different risks, and
their kids drink wine. I mean, they're so much more sophisticated.
Exactly.
Over there.
They are very sophisticated.
But it's weird that that American audiences have yet to really seem to like latch on to an anthology comic series as much as other countries have, which I've always thought was kind of interesting. There was that one maybe like 5 or 6 years ago that was Brandon Graham and Emma Rios did Island.
Yes.
Which was an anthology that Image put out that was totally incredible. But I'm just glad to see more American comic anthologies coming out.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, my 2000 AD is really negligible. Unfortunately, I've read some things that are collections from it, but I've never read it as an anthology. Mm-hmm. So, like, what I gravitated towards, again, it feels very European to me, and that's a huge compliment. It felt to me like heavy metal, which is stuff that I read, where there's like ranks rocks or some kind of a recurring thing, but you're binding it all in one world, which is, I mean, it's just a great project. I'm really hoping people out there check it out and support it because they're gonna love it.
Cool. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Lastly, I'm just going to embarrass you. Your writing has always been great. Your writing on this is sick. Like every story is tonally different and feels completely different from the voice. And so you have become a master, in my opinion, at writing comics now. Wow.
Well, thank you very much. That's great to hear. And it was, I mean, I think it was super fun to experiment with all those things down. Like, I feel like some of it's super tight and really locked into the story. And then like the last story, the ex post facto, is basically, just me. That started off as me just ranting during quarantine, like in my Apple Notes app. And then I just was like, oh, this kind of is all saying the same stuff. What if I tried to like script it? And then I found Carl's art. Carl Solminski, who does the art on that, is amazing. He's got kind of like a Frank Miller Sienkiewicz deal going on.
Yes.
And I found his stuff at the same time that I was kind of like thinking about all these rant screeds he had in my notes. And it's like, I wonder if this could just be a thing. And it just kind of like, I used his art as like the inspiration when I was putting it together. And so it feels like it gets to, touch on some different things and experiment with voices and stuff in a, obviously a way that in live form doesn't really, it's pretty tied to a handful of characters in a certain tone. So, it's super fun and great to hear that it works. So,
yeah, I was bowled over.
Cool.
And I hope you get to make a lot more.
Thank you.
And then they come in something that has a square binding, and I can put it on a shelf because you know how I am about floppies.
Totally. Well, I mean, like one thing I would love to do, if anybody is thinking about backing, I would love to, if we got to a point where we were into like stretch goal territory, one of the printers that I'm working with, this was super cool, or that I've talked to, I was thinking it would look great in like a Dark Knight Returns format, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just typed out, like, I don't know, like old DC Vertigo, like, and so they sent me a pack of samples and they just totally like nailed what I was after in this sample pack. So I'm like, okay, like be a little spendier, but I think that would be pretty fun if each issue was a little perfect bound kind of deal. And so
that would be amazing.
Let's hope. We'll see where it goes, but
also European, right? Don't they kind of have the album?
Album format. Yeah, totally.
Cool. Yeah, you throw in like that plus like I'm a character in one of the stories. I'm at the top.
There you go.
Tier.
There you go. I'm sure we can fit you in somewhere.
Cool. I just want to be killed by someone.
Well, that happens in most of the stories, so I think we can definitely work that in.
Well, that's great. So, Matt, you and I have talked quite a bit about comics, and Jacob and I have been friends for a good 15 or so years, and we also are big comics fans and probably didn't realize how much each other were as into comics as we were until the last few years, and we started the show. So I'm just curious, like, what is your relationship with like this 70s Bronze Age Marvel monster line, like Tomb of Dracula, etc.? Like, what is your exposure to them? And
this is actually a real like sort of black hole for me in terms of that. I don't have much exposure to this. I know of them. I haven't read much. I'm trying to think if I've read anything. But yeah, not anything substantial. My 70s Marvel stuff is more in the Starlin cosmic realm, as well as whatever the Cap and X-Men and all that business. So I think I'm mostly in the superhero realm when it comes to 70s Marvel stuff. So yeah.
Well, you got a doozy.
Yes.
Because we're, in addition to talking about Thoughtscape's campaign, we're here to talk about Werewolf by Night issue number 24, which has a pull date of December of 1974. And this is an issue of a comic that came out. Shall we dive in?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay, so I believe this is a Gil Kane cover, correct, Jacob?
That's right. Yeah, Gil Kane with inks by Al Milgrom, which I thought was pretty cool.
And completely devoid of John Romita Sr. touch-ups.
Yeah.
Because, wow, it's very apparent he did not do anything here. So what we got here is a big, beastie, hairy man monster thing throwing people around in a grocery store. There's some cantaloupes in the foreground. There's a woman cowering. She's blonde, just like the quota's filled. Blonde woman cowering on the cover. And in the background, the werewolf is diving through a plate glass window towards this thing. And the title says Death Battle with the Brute. And he looks kind of like half troll, half man,
Yeah.
Not my favorite Gil Kane, not my favorite Al Milgrom, not my favorite cover, I don't know.
I know it's just going to be one of those issues. We're not, our goal is always to be pretty positive about stuff. We don't take giant shits on everything, but it's going to be hard. This issue is going to make that real hard.
Yes.
So the werewolf has kind of a Wolverine Logan hair, little swoops on the side. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, no, we don't get that every week, so that's at least pretty entertaining.
That's all I have to say about the cover.
Oh, I know. It's rough. So, okay, let's just jump to the next page.
Okay.
So our list of creators is basically the same. It's Doug Munch, writer, Don Perlin, artist, Vince Coletta, inker. We have John Costanza as letterer this time, and Linda Lessman with Roy the Boy editing. And the title is The Dark Side of Evil. And yeah, it's basically like a full-page illustration that kind of shows our villain, a mad scientist named Winston Redditch, and he's kind of looming over a smaller depiction of the beast. Like, it's a decent page, but there's a lot of text, and it basically just describes exactly what's going to happen during the issue, which is, I don't know. I just found it a little strange. Yeah, this page was underwhelming to me, and I'm just going to have to find like 100 different ways to say underwhelming for this issue.
I do like one of the other things I'd gone back to when I was getting into 2000 AD was sort of some of the old EC stuff. And obviously this is not in the ballpark, but just the general layout, where it's a little more of an illustration and less of a scene actually being rendered, is the type of like cool thing I don't think we see very much anymore. So even when maybe it's not the best, like his hair and eyebrows are a little something
awesome.
There, but
awesome.
There we go. Like a angry Andy Rooney on the eyebrows.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a story. Let me take a note, maybe to do that. So I do like that. I feel like it's, at least in terms of modern American comics, I feel like sometimes we miss now some of this I don't know, more creative, illustrative stuff. So yeah,
I agree. Yeah. So just if the folks that haven't seen this, it's this giant, again, angry Andy Rooney kind of guy, and he's holding a beaker and a flask, and he's scowling, and he's got that kind of creepy underlighting coming up and creating weird, eerie shadows on him as he looks down on a miniature of the werewolf growling up at him. So it's an abstract, kind of like you're saying, it's a depiction. Yeah, and it's almost like you were saying, like I kind of miss this stuff. It's almost like Eisner would do these cool splash pages like this, where it's more evocative of the story than something that's happening concretely. But it's like if Eisner fell down the Exorcist steps and then tried to draw one.
Yes, like this would be a way better cover than the cover, right? Like, actually, as an image. Yeah.
And we get his name in addition to Winston. Is it Winston? Winston Redditch, but we also get his alter ego name.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah, I guess we can talk about that when it emerges organically in the story.
Yeah, we'll let that happen.
Organically in quotes.
Yeah.
Who
was the guy from like Love Liza and Boogie Nights, and he overdosed on heroin? He was a really cool actor.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
He would play. Winston.
Yeah,
it's Philip Seymour Hoffman with Andy Rooney on. That's pretty much
wearing Andy Rooney's face.
So I'm way more into it now that we've cast the issue. I think that's
good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Are we moving on?
Oh yeah.
I think, yeah.
Can I just say something though? Last episode, Jacob, you said something about you like the colorist, maybe your second favorite after Petra. I'm not into Les Nessman anymore. I don't like Les Nessman.
Les Nessman. No, Linda Lessman is not great on this. Well, she kind of does the cardinal sin, in my opinion. But yeah, that's going to come up again. That'll be a big issue.
Because she did it last issue.
Yeah.
Remember when Jack was a blonde for one page?
Oh.
Yeah, but this is way worse.
All right. So we're moving on.
Okay.
If you recall from the last issue, the Beast had his ass handed to him by Atlas. Buck saved his life by shooting him, Atlas, in the back just before he was going to slay the Beast. The Beast ran off and slumped into an alley to lick his wounds and just kind of recover. And so Jack wakes up in an alley full of trash with a kitty cat meowing at him, and he's again got a black eye, split lip. He's again 2 days in a row just whooped. So he wanders out. He flashes back. He remembers all the stuff I just said about Atlas and Buck saving his life. He goes home to Colden House, and damn it, his key is not fitting into his lock. And Sandy, the landlady, comes up and said, "That's because you don't live here anymore, mister. I changed the lock on you."
Yeah, we should have seen this coming.
Yeah. Yes.
This has been a long time coming.
Yeah, and she explains that.
Yeah, I mean, I like this page. I kind of, I like the, I do like the flashback panels in the middle. Kind of reminds me, I'm like, oh yeah, the last two issues were kind of entertaining in a weird way with Atlas.
Yeah. So Matt, I don't know if you know this, but this is the Pearl and Coletta team is ending after this issue. And Jacob theorized last issue that the shoddy work that was happening in the art was probably a sign that they were kind of not getting along so well, because Coletta turned in a couple of really solid issues of inks prior to that. And now we have this weird kind of chicken scratch. Like he's not adding anything to the pencils. He's just tracing the pencils as far as I can tell.
Right.
Sometimes not even doing that.
Yeah. I mean, I really wonder, I've kind of read interviews with both those guys, and it doesn't really seem like they had a falling out, but I would think that after this issue, Perlin was probably just like, fuck this, I'm just going to do it myself. It'll take longer because, I'm going to spend more than 10 minutes on it. Right. But no, I really have a feeling this issue was the break.
Or they had the talk before this issue, and Vinny said,
yeah, Vinny
up
didn't
yours, Donnie.
Yeah. Yeah, but so basically on the next page, Sandy tells Jack he's being evicted. And what does she say? She says, "You're being evicted, Jack, and the reason's written all over your pulped face. I don't know what's gotten into you, but I don't like it a bit. And the owner of this building likes it even less. And she reminds us that you've destroyed your apartment 3 times now.
In 6 months.
6 months that he's been there, and it's been completely destroyed 3 times. So she says, if you want to go on and destroy yourself in the bargain, that's up to you. But I'm through playing Shanghai Lil to your constant brawls.
Help.
So, okay, so I know this. It's from a movie called Footlight Parade. That
yeah.
Yeah,
I read the lyrics even. I don't get it.
Oh, it's maybe not something we want to go super deep into. It gets very problematic really quick. But it's basically from this movie Footlight Parade. It's Busby Berkeley, so it's got huge musical numbers, and like all of his movies, someone's just trying to put on a show and have these numbers. And the last number is this song called Shanghai Lil, and she's basically a prostitute in a opium den, and there's a song that is pretty problematic, and it's but yeah, the only correlation I could draw is that that there's like fighting and stuff in the number, so maybe that's what she's kind of connecting it with, even though that's a tenuous thing. It's a weird reference to put in.
Yeah, how old is even for Doug Munch at this age, like 24 or something?
Yeah, I'm not sure he's was watching, the musicals of the early 30s. Yeah, it was a really weird reference, and yeah,
okay.
Not one that's going to speak to the young readers of Werewolf by Night, I don't imagine.
No, I really don't think so. Yeah, it's a weird reference, but so Sandy basically says, she'll let Jack into the apartment now to get some clothes, and he can come back and get the rest of his shit later. And so she gets kind of a little nicer in the bottom 2 panels. And she's just like, oh, yeah, the owner's fed up. I've run out of excuses for you. I sense it's not your fault, but you deserve better than this. And so, but still, she's just like, yeah, you got to get the fuck out. And so it's official.
I got the vibe. I mean, I'm sure it's just because this is a comic book and everything has to be interconnected, right? Like everyone that we've talked about this, everyone that's met Peter Parker has a supervillain cousin, or they are a supervillain, or they whatever. Like she mentioned the owners like twice. I was like, oh, does that mean something? Does like the committee own Colden House, or whatever? I'm sure it means nothing, but yeah. So we just grabbed a bunch of pairs of green pants, and Charlie Brown walked off all sad.
He did. He did such a sad walk off. But this is an end of an era. We don't get to use the hashtag Colden Houses for lovers anymore.
We do not.
We don't have any of the ammo that we normally have for, how kind of gross Colden House must smell. And yeah, I'm like, sad to see it go.
Like rancid lube.
Yeah, that's pretty much what the candle smell would be for there.
That makes me feel like we really have missed the good issues, I guess.
Yeah, Colden House was a swinging singles apartment complex, so we made a lot of hay out of that. So he hops into a speedy cab and throws his change at a cabbie's face, apparently. Not intentionally, but it was a weird panel of just tossing quarters at him. And the guy's like, man, don't bother with a tip. You look like you need it more than I do. He's barefoot. He's wearing his shredded werewolf pants and an unbuttoned dress shirt. And where does he go? Does he go to his La Casa de Russell on Malibu Drive out this beach house? No. He has to harass and harangue his best friend in the world, Buck Cowan.
Yeah.
And Buck has just replaced the plate glass window that was busted last issue. And Jack's feeling really down the mouth. He's like, I'm just going to fuck that up. You shot Atlas with the silver bullet I wanted you to kill me with if I got out of control. And Buck's like, hey, buddy, chill out, man. He's kind of just really down on himself here. And, he's like, again, what if I flip out tonight and blah, blah, blah. And Buck says, well, there might be a little happy ending here. I have a little something from my personal files that might be a clue to a cure for you. And Buck looks, let's just talk about the art a little bit before we move on. Buck looks totally like a new character to me in this last issue here.
Yeah.
Like in that bottom right panel, he looks like a Steve Austin, or not Steve Austin. What's the $6 Million Man? What's his name?
Yeah. Isn't it Steve Austin?
It is Steve Austin.
Yeah, it is Steve Austin.
That's not a wrestler?
Right.
Okay.
I mean, it is too, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, I would trust Matt to know. I don't know that stuff. But anyway, he looks like a action figure, like a generic dollar store action figure from the 70s.
Yeah, I thought he looked like Stretch Armstrong.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Anyway, unremarkable, except, Jack looking all busted up from last issue.
Yeah, I do feel like those first two panels with the taxi, like there's some wonky physics happening in that first panel, and the like taxi to Colden House perspective seems a little not great.
Like a kid's drawing of an apartment, and then you just put a toy car on the drawing, and like there.
Right. Yes, exactly. Then photograph. Yeah, I mean, pretty much. And then I hadn't noticed throwing the change into the cabbie's face, or it's just floating, levitating there. A new werewolf power, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. I laughed so hard at that panel. It's funny for so many different reasons.
His feet also, or at least in my. So I've got the issue. His feet aren't colored in. They're gray like the concrete.
Yeah, they are in mine too.
Yeah.
See, I'm on the digital version, and we have flesh tone on his feet.
Oh, they fleshed tone. Okay, they fixed that up.
Stepping it up.
Just I know.
Yes.
Yeah. So the next page. So is there a lot more text in this issue than normal? It felt like there was. Matt?
Felt like it was mostly people talking.
Yeah, but just like talking a lot too, especially for a 1974 into 1974 comic. But
little payoff.
Yeah, with little payoff and really strange logic. Like, well, I don't understand Buck's logic here at all. But so Buck tells Jack about a psychologist named Winston Redditch, who is he's kind of taking the concept of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and like expanding it to kind of posit that there are isolated sections of the brain that control hostility and anger. And he's working on a chemical compound that will suppress those portions of the brain. And so, yeah, I didn't go back and read Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but I mean, isn't it kind of the same thing?
I don't think he's piggybacking too much on Stevenson. That's basically what it is. Yeah, I mean, the concept of man's two warring natures.
Yeah, but I don't understand. So yeah, Buck is explaining all of this, and he's like, he's working on a chemical compound. It's gonna suppress that. In other words, something which just might be an effective cure for lycanthropy. And I did not see the connective tissue to those two things. I mean, maybe Buck is just being really positive. He's being really, he just wants to help out Jack, but this is a leap.
Yeah, I think that the connective tissue that is doing a lot of work here is in that big panel, which the upper right-hand panel, when he's describing this guy's work, there's this another evocative kind of abstract panel that has bubbling beakers and flasks and whatever. I forgot that one Erlenmeyer flask or something. I don't know. That's an X-Files episode, isn't it? But there's like out of the fumes coming from this beaker is the doctor's face, or actually it's supposed to be, I think, Jekyll's face and Hyde's face. And it's got kind of a Gene Colan-y kind of sketchy quality that's I almost like until I kind of look at it a little more and I realize I don't like it. But on the bottom of that panel, Jacob, it says the human side, which is supposedly noble and good, and the darker bestial side, which is the pure essence of evil. So I think that the beast root word of bestial is where Buck's making that. I mean, again, it's a stretch. But
he does say later it might be an effective cure for lycanthropy. So maybe he's like a question mark, not really like a declarative statement.
Yeah, I think he just wanted to go for a drive.
Yeah.
He wants to go for a drive. Hold his keys up. Come on.
See, I wanted to imagine that Buck had like a file that was like his X-Files that had all the like the weird clippings that he's run across. I'd like to see what the other ones were. Yeah. I do too.
Like,
we all love Buck.
Yeah, but I was like, Buck has a personal morgue in his house of like interesting, weird news.
Yeah.
That's rad.
He's the best.
But speaking of the wonkiness of this kind of theory here that Buck has, I wanted to remind you that this issue is called The Dark Side of Evil, which sounds like a Spinal Tap B-side. The Dark Side of Evil? Okay. So we're moving on.
Cool.
We cut to the LAPD 23rd Precinct, and we're going back to Vic Northrup, who is Lou Hackett's former partner, and he's been digging around through Lou's notes, and he's like talking to his other cop buddy. And he's like, "Hey, man, there's all this stuff in Lou's notes about a werewolf, and Hackett was not any kind of a kook, man. He was a down-to-earth cop. So if he thought there was a werewolf going around here, then there probably is." And then, meanwhile, some ME or something comes in from the Atlas autopsy and says, "You'll never believe this bowl we pulled out of Atlas. It's silver." And it obviously, Perlin didn't know how bullets work because they tend to spread as they enter something. But this is like the full, perfect silver head. Anyway, the guy's like, yeah, get out of here. Thanks. You know, they're like, so, hey, we're on this case now. We got to go check this shit out, right? Because there's obviously a werewolf. And so you tell the boys down at the props department of the police station to get a big, heavy hemp net, something suitable for wild animals.
I do like that last panel. Like, that gave me some real cinematic vibes in a B movie sort of way. Holding it up and staring at it.
So they requisition some nets.
Yeah. Oh, that's going to figure in later. They're just dropping that for us.
Yeah. Why did they cut the paperwork scene?
I know.
It's like The Wire, but with werewolves.
I'm rewatching The Wire right now. I just started season 1. Yeah.
Nice.
So, I mean, the next page. So, yeah, this just broke my mind a little bit. So, you know, Jack and Buck, they're about to take off on their little mission when Lissa pulls up. And she's like, "Jack, I figured you'd be here when you didn't answer your phone, and thank God you're all right." But Lissa is just straight up blonde now.
Mm-hmm. I don't like it.
I don't like it either. I'm not saying that you know, she dyed her hair and that's uncool. I just think the colorist just either got it wrong or just kind of decided to change it. I mean, again, who knows how much actual like hard editorial oversight is going on a lot of this stuff. I don't think anyone's going to get fired because Lissa's hair wasn't the color it was. But it's
in my world, they would.
I totally agree, because it took me out. It really bumped me out.
What color is her hair normally?
It's like a light brown.
Okay.
So Jack's always a strawberry blonde, and she's got kind of a more light brown, kind of sandy brown.
Got it.
But you know, they could spend one panel and do like "You like my new hair, Jack?"
Yeah,
if that's what they're gonna do, right? It's like in The Room when the dude shaved his beard between scenes, and they had to go, "Oh, you shaved."
Yeah.
Yep. I had another movie I was gonna do.
Yeah, they should at least given us. Well, if they would have given us one of those, then I would have been like, "Oh, this was planned." But I'm just like, this was not planned. This was just shitty communication, and now it's weirding me out. So, anyhow, she sees Jack's face and just like bursts out crying. And Jack is like, "Easy, sis. Tears never drowned anything. And the last I heard, wolves can swim anyway." So he's trying to, you know, do his kind of stupid jokes and be upbeat like Buck was to him. And, you know, I get it. But then he's like, no, Buck and I, we got to get somewhere before dark. And then don't worry, you know. And she tells Jack to be careful, and they drive off. Yeah, I had a hard time getting past the hair color for anything in this page. It's almost like the rest of the page doesn't exist to me.
I do like there's something super creepy about panel 3.
Yeah.
That has like a, you know, unintentionally surreal charm, maybe.
You don't wipe your sister's tears lovingly with your thumb?
Well, and the way he's holding her face, it's like her face is a plate, perhaps, or something. Like it's the dimensions aren't right. It's pretty. Yeah, I think in the right hands it could be real disturbing. But yeah, not much else going on the page.
I actually like the way that Perlin draws female faces for the most part. Like, it's this perfect blend for me between John Romita Sr. and Steve Ditko's women, like fused into one thing, which I like. But yeah, that panel, let me touch your tears, sis, was a little weird.
Yeah.
And she looks so forlorn as they're leaving. Like, well, we got werewolf business. You stay here. And she's like wearing her bell bottoms and her little bikini top. Like, aw, you guys never take me anywhere.
Yeah, there's a lot of sad Charlie Brown posture in this issue.
Yes. Yeah, and it just kind of spreads through the whole issue. So yeah, they're heading off to talk to this Winston Redditch guy in Buck's fancy car. And, Jack's saying, hey, this isn't just about me. This is also about Lissa because she's going to turn 18 in 3 months and she is a Rusoff. So the Rusoff curse is probably going to strike her. And I don't want my sister to go through the lycanthropic hell that I do every month. So we cut to Winston Redditch's house out in the middle of nowhere. And he's in his little lab and his wife is in there with her feather duster dusting around the lab. And she's saying, you never leave here. You're going to go blind if you don't go outside once in a while, blah, blah, blah. And she's picking up beakers on his work desk. And she picks one up, she dusts under it, and then she sets it down to the right of the beaker instead of to the left of the beaker where it originally was. And she says, I don't know how many times I've told you there's a place for everything and everything in its place. So.
Yeah, I felt I had to go back to that. I don't know if I want to say this or not. I feel like there's some storytelling problems in the layout that they've got there. It was unclear to me because when you're talking about just the passage of time across panels, that she actually moved the beakers rather than just picked up the next one, and dusted. Not totally clear that it's all the same action. Although when I went back to it, I understood it, and it called attention to itself with its pretty strange layout, at least, or interesting layout.
Yeah.
But yeah, I felt like that was at least a little unclear on the first read. If you're just kind of, if maybe the rest of the story hasn't riveted you to attention to detail, that maybe that sneaks past you.
And it's funny that the old beaker switch is such an EC trick. Really, it's like I swear there's like 10 EC stories that involve the beaker switch. But yeah, I guess in the hands of Johnny Craig, it probably looks a lot better than it does here.
Yeah, that I agree with you though, Matt. That the panel layout is kind of interesting. Like it's trapezoids stacked on top of each other in a weird kind of Tetris way.
Yes.
It's
like interlocking. Yeah.
Yeah. If only the art was better or supported it somehow, that would be cool. But yeah, I mean, I knew, again, this is kind of ambiguous art here, but I've seen enough 50s sci-fi horror movies to know that this is bad doings. Well, Vincent Price is going to turn into something.
Yeah. And yeah, on the next page, his wife just yells at him some more. She's like, Winston, can't you even listen to me for 2 minutes? You haven't heard a word I've said. He's doing the typical, like, whatever you say, dear. She's like, I give up, Winston. I just give up. You were born the way you are and you'll never change. And he's still saying, of course, dear, whatever you. And he's like, wait a minute. That's the answer. And he has his eureka moment. And I actually do like that panel where he kind of, is slamming his fist down on the table. There was something kind of weirdly early Silver Age to me. It looked like a little bit of a throwback panel.
And also he's doing something.
Yeah, he is actually doing something aside from just sitting and having a conversation. But so then he immediately, has this, his big aha moment. And then it's like, oh, it must be tested immediately. I have to know I'm right. And I thought this was a weird description. He says, and since the intellect of a guinea pig or a white mouse is far too primitive to evince any substantive and definitive correlations, I must administer a formula to a human subject, and that responsibility lies with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So again, he's doing a lot of mad scientist tropes that he should know better, but he doesn't because he exists in this comic.
He's Bill Gatesing. He's like his garage, basically.
And so, and I love that on the last panel, he has to specifically say, he's like, and since I distinctly remember placing the beaker of benign solution on the left, all that remains is to add. And so, he's got to say it out loud. I expected him to at least have like one of those, at least a 70s label maker, like one of those giant fucking things with a big old trigger on it or something. That would at least help his beakers out.
Yeah, I'm sure every high school science teacher in the world read this and just cringed, like, oh.
Yeah. It's like, oh my God. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And also, what the hell? The benign ones on the left, Everyone knows that the left, even in medical terms, is called the sinister side.
Yeah.
They always said the devil is always on the left shoulder. Left-handed kids have to have the devil beat out of them in Catholic school and learn to write with their right hands. This is off.
Yeah, it's totally off.
And when he does slam down that table and he's like going, oh, that's it. He looks like a weird Hank McCoy. Like his face is very primate, early Hank McCoy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He kind of goes from looking like Hawk from G.I. Joe to Hank McCoy, and then back again, sort of. Yeah. So on the next page, he says, it just remains to add the ancillary catalyst, and within moments, it starts foaming up, and he chugs it down. I'll be inundated with waves of blissful. No, something's wrong. I chose the wrong beaker. Pain feels so strong. And my question at this point is, would anyone, am I the only person that thought chug the other beaker and just cancel it out? You just drank poison. You just drank evil potion, and you have good potion that you meant to drink. Just drink the good potion. Anyway, he slams his hands down on his steel lab table, and you see kind of an obscured reflection, and that's because he's changing into a Mr. Hyde-esque character. He has white hair now, and he's very simian, like Cro-Mag man, and he's like saying, I won. Redditch is dead. I killed him. I killed his life. And he's smashing equipment. Smash his sickening goodness, his disgusting desire to help people. He keeps smashing stuff. I smashed it all, and now I'm free to glory and evil. And his wife overhears this from the other room. Winston, those crashing sounds. What's happening in there?
Oh man!
I did like the reflection panel. I thought was interesting, and it looks like the reflection is saying strong.
Mm-hmm.
Like the word balloon is pointed to the reflection, which is, it's kind of cool.
I thought that was pretty cool too.
If somebody was thinking about it, it's cool.
I'm sure they were half thinking about
it. Right.
Yeah, we get the name on the next page. So she, his wife runs into the lab, and he says, and she's like, Winston, are you? And he says, Winston's dead, woman, and don't you ever speak that disgusting name again. I'm depraved now, and I'll be known as DePrayve. He came up with that really fast.
Yeah, and it's stylized.
It's stylized, but I mean, he's only been depraved for like 30 seconds at most. Yeah. And he immediately comes up with a name. I mean, that's admirable, I guess.
Yeah, I like it. And so he spells it DePrayve.
Yeah.
I was wondering how, when he says that, how's he distinguishing those vocally? Like,
yeah, I'm depraved, but now I'll be known as DePrayve.
Right. See, but even at the bottom of the page, I mean, I know it's just a little lettering weirdness, but it almost seemed like he French. Like the E on DePrayve was smaller, like was lowercase. And so I'm like, oh, okay, so it's DePrayve.
Does he know despair? You know that man thing, yep. The nexus of all known worlds or whatever.
Yeah, but sorry, I skipped past my favorite part on this page. Which was so, Buck and Jack, they show up at what they assume will be like a measured and calm visit to a scientist. And like Jack rings the bell, and DePrayve swings open the door and says, Redditch is dead and I killed him. And then he punches both of them in the face. It's like at the same time knocking them both out. It's so great. It's my favorite moment of the whole issue.
It looks like he punched Jack so hard that his torso spun around like an action figure.
It does. It looks like his back. Oh my god.
Yeah, the front of his shirt is gone, so I guess that would be
so weird.
Yeah, that is the funniest, like, non sequitur or whatever turn of events.
I just imagining how chill they must have been. Just like, oh, be cool. We don't want to freak this guy out.
And he looks like he just smoked a pound of bath salts when he opens the door. Oh my god. It's pretty rotten.
Yeah.
Were you done with that page?
I don't know what else I can say about it.
Well, he's storming off to. Yeah. It's his turn to live, to exult in the richness of evil. Did you cover that?
No, but yeah, it is his first time. So he just loves to talk about evil, like as a concept, like just how he wants to serve it, how he wants to do it. He's very thoughtful about it. It's very philosophical to him.
Yeah, I kind of admire him. So on the next page, Buck and Jack have been cold cocked, so they're just kind of laying in heaps in front of the front door of the scientist. And while they're out, the moon comes up, and so Jack in his sleep turns into the werewolf and wakes up. And it says, I vaguely remember sniffing at Buck's lifeless form, hoping it would move. He does a little weird thing, and it's so I could pounce on it. I was like, he's not a kitten. It's not like he's waiting for something to move so I can just start toying with it.
Oh, Buck's a piece of string.
So he rips off his shirt because he can't go with a shirt on anymore. And what is he? I don't remember what he's. Oh, he's in search of the forest, which is one of our drinking rules. Whenever the werewolf wants to find the forest, we take ourselves a drink.
All right. I do like that. I think that panel, that fourth panel on this page where he's in search of the forest, is pretty cool. I would have made that bigger. And cool. And leaned into it. The moon's nice and big. All the cracks kind of say something about what's happening. Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Matt, we used to just get pages of that quality before this.
Yeah.
Now we're lucky to get one tiny panel.
Yep. Now it's just some crumbs that we're sucking on in that boat in the middle of the ocean. So he's looking for the forest, but Jack narrates, fat chance of that, though. Downtown Pasadena isn't much more than a melange of garbage cans, bars, gas stations, and supermarkets. And we get this big, huge panel at the bottom where DePrayve is outside of a supermarket and he's just menacing people and physically assaulting them. One guy's down on his hands and knees going, another one? This is insane. The night's full of monsters. He hates these cans.
He does hate those cans.
And DePrayve has another hippie kid by his neck. And the kid's going, wait a minute, stop. I never did anything to you. I've never even seen you before. So, this is hilarious. He ran to the nearest people and just started trying to kill them.
His evil concept is real, I feel, fluid. Like it starts off really grandiose and then he just goes to the supermarket and
Right. He's trying to wire Dr. Doom and he's like, or
I could topple some orange carts.
Yeah. I'm going to go hassle some shopkeepers. Yeah.
Go knock some apples off of the cart.
Even though it's funny, the hippie kid that he's hitting kind of looked like some of the caricatures we've seen of Jerry Conway. So I was like, is that Jerry Conway?
That's pretty funny.
We get to the next page, which is interesting. We actually get action on this page. It's basically just this page for most of the issue. Yeah. But the beast pounces on DePrayve, and they both smash through this plate glass window of a supermarket into a bunch of oranges and pineapples, which really made me laugh for no reason whatsoever. But I just want to imagine Munch and Perlin just kind of in the storytelling just be like, you know where we haven't been before? A supermarket.
I know.
Let's do a fight in the fruit aisle.
Like a fridge magnet plot.
Yes, they did. They're like, it's so fucking funny. The beast jumps on DePrayve and he's like, one which seeks to stop me, to stop evil? Your attack is unexpected, monster, but it won't stop me. So he's extremely offended that the monster is there to stop evil.
And he's just spouting out Misfits lyrics.
That's
how he speaks. And this is only a minor offense, so I'm only going to drink to this. This is a voluntary one. But when the cover depicts something that doesn't necessarily happen, we drink. And this does happen on the cover, but there were melons. I saw cantaloupes or honeydew, and I'm not seeing them, so I'm having a little sip. That's being niggling. I want my melons. So I like the art on this page as a whole. I thought it was pretty decent for an action-starved issue. Pretty good. Great pineapples. Ralph's, they have the best.
Oh, we've got the lower case, or the lower E is, or the E is dropped again. Sorry, it's smaller.
On the next page?
Yeah, on DePrayve.
Yeah, so this battle continues. DePrayve says, DePrayve can't be stopped. And he does have these. He's of the niece DePrayves. Old family. And he's punching the werewolf into a end base of like cereal boxes or something. And the beast jumps onto him and he continues saying, DePrayve is evil. It's like he's selling a kid's toy or something like that, right?
He is.
Yeah, so they land into a pile of meats from the luncheon deli shrimp cooler or something. And yeah, they're just grappling, and then DePrayve kicks the werewolf off. And there's a bald, mustachioed man in the foreground clutching his head saying, where are the cops? Where are the cops? And DePrayve gets a really good high kick and cracks the beast in the face.
What did you think of the layout of this page?
I thought the panels were cool. Matt, what'd you think?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I'm sure I've seen it before, but I didn't recall to mind immediately. The like angled captions on the angled panels is interesting. It's got like more movement than the art does for the most part, so that's good. And that high kick is something else. With the sort of elongated leg there at the bottom. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. It felt like it kind of called back to a little bit to the beaker switch scene, just with its sort of, the rest of the book is super straight up. So yeah.
It's like a Robert Pollard kick.
Yeah.
It is a Robert Pollard kick.
At least when I saw him. This is the mid 90s. He could kick really high.
Yeah, I think he can kind of still do that, but dangerous. So,
if I had to describe this panel layout to someone who hasn't seen it, it almost looks to me like you could tear this page out and fold it along the panel lines, and you'd have one of those things that kids have on the playground where it's like, "What's your favorite color? BLUE.
Yeah.
Which number do you want?" You pull a flap up, and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, what are those? I don't know if those things have a name. It looks like that. Like it's weird, irregular polygons that all kind of are symmetrical and form a weird pattern.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like it works. Like the first 3 panels, it feels like it actually sort of flows with the art, like the angles. But then it kind of feels like it. At least the 4th panel, our characters are just kind of like one of them's half off the panel.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's. I mean, we're giving the guy screaming for the cops gets a lot of play in that panel.
Yeah, but I can draw pants.
Yeah. Exactly.
Pants
Definitely
are
draw
easy.
pants.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, the next page, it gets a little more interesting. Outside, we see the cops pull up, led by Lieutenant Northrop, who sees the beast fighting DePrayve, and he says, "What I tell you, Eddie, Lou's notes were right on target." Because, Matt, if you remember, I mean, Lou had a giant folder that said werewolf shit on it. So, it's good. I was wondering when Northrop was going to bring up, Lou's extensive notes on the occult and lycanthropy.
Yeah.
And so he says to the other cops, "All right, you 4 with the equipment know where to station yourselves." So, he's got a plan that he alluded to earlier in the issue. And then, Northrop and a couple cops storm the supermarket saying, "Freeze, you two, this is the police." And he sees, DePrayve and the beast are kind of mashing each other's faces in some kind of produce aisle.
Grappling like mofos.
They are grappling for sure.
So, Northrop fires a warning shot. "I said freeze!" Blam! DePrayve kind of pauses and shows a little bit of intellect that the beast doesn't have, and he says, "A gun. A gun could stop DePrayve. Could stop me from living my evil. But it won't stop me. Not if I escape." And he punches the werewolf and runs out the back door. And the cop that's with Northrop says, "My God, Lieutenant, what kind of costume is that?" As he looks at the werewolf, Jacob. It's almost like he could spit on the werewolf not knowing it's a werewolf. That's when we drink. And we don't recognize a werewolf for a werewolf. I think that's our last drink this issue. But he's hip to the whole scene. He says, it ain't a costume patrolman, as you're about to see. Now, come on, we're going to bag that hairy joker. Not a great face there on Northrop in that last panel.
No.
The art on this page is pretty bad.
Yeah,
I do like how his eyes are just straight up closed when he's firing his warning shot. It's very, very taut.
I did not notice that. He should have one finger in his ear.
Yeah,
Exactly. Listen to me or I'll shoot you.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. And I think that maybe Coletta, when he rushes, he puts people's eyes way too close together, which I've noticed on a lot of the like panels that look like they're really rushed. Yeah, Coletta's he's totally dropped the ball. He's checked out. Mm-hmm. And yeah, thank God this is his last issue.
Yeah.
So we're finally to the last page. So the beast runs out. And the narration reads, even though the werewolf was in full possession of me, I vividly remember scurrying through the rear door. I love it when he scurries. That makes me laugh every time. It says, catching a fragmented glimpse of the moon and freezing in confusion as a chaos of hemp swiftly descended to wrap me in helplessness. And so, yeah, the cops, drop the net down. Beast gets tangled in the net. Eddie, the cop, says, sorry, Vic, but the first one escaped. We didn't have the net set up in time to catch him, meaning DePrayve. He's like, that's okay, Eddie. We can pick him up anytime. But this is the baby we really want, the one who's going to pay for ripping Lou Hackett to shreds. So, yeah, Northrop has his prey. And then the final narration reads, that last statement was based entirely on circumstantial evidence, but the werewolf was concerned with anything but matters of false accusation. So he just snarled in rage as the third night hit the witching hour. Dawn would be a long time in coming. And then we have the next issue teaser at the bottom that says, when murder is suicide, the moon shrieks.
Which, yeah, that was way better than anything in the issue right there. I feel like
it's so great.
Some of these titles are just, they feel like they're, people write those little codes for like the Jello film title generator, and you just click it and it's like, the chameleon's blood will stain your dress on your wedding day. And it's like, okay, you can't argue with it.
You were talking Pollard earlier. Like, it feels like like a GBG song title. It's just like a mash of words that sounds fucking cool.
But one of those songs that'd only be like a minute 10.
Exactly. Exactly. I did think this last page had some comics to it. Like, the scurry panel could be better, but I feel like the other three panels are pretty decent. Although he kind of looks like a gorilla inside the net. But I liked the panel with the net and the moon was kind of cool. I don't know.
I feel that.
Yeah, that one's good too. Yeah, felt like right at the end there, maybe touching on something interesting visually.
Well,
yeah.
Fortunately, you're going to have to leave with no closure.
Yes.
I'm really sorry. I know it's going to keep you up at nights, not knowing what's going to happen to DePrayve, where Jack is going to go next. So I'm sorry about that.
That's rough. Evil. They're both headed towards some kind of evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rich, luxurious evil. This is where we normally kind of say what we thought of the issue. I think that we've been pretty candid about that through the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm real sorry, Matt, that you came on for an issue that's just kind of a stinker. But it's also kind of fun to see just how bad 70s comics can get too.
Yeah,
which is always entertaining in itself. So I hope it was at least entertaining to be like, oh, that's not how storytelling's done.
Oh yeah, no, it was definitely an experience.
Yeah,
I feel. Well, and I think we tend to, I guess I was doing it a little bit myself earlier, tend to romanticize everything about old comics. And there were clunkers.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was, and it does make me want to see more, especially because I was listening to the episode with Rebecca and that one sounded, a little more riveting. So, I'll check out another issue or two.
Good. I really hope that this was not. Yeah, I'm sorry this is your first taste.
That's all right.
It's definitely Cousin Oliver of the issue.
Right. Exactly.
So it gets better.
Yeah.
It was better and it gets better.
Cool. Yeah. Cousin Oliver, an apt description. For sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
or
really
Scrappy Doo, whatever you want.
Also pretty good. But hopefully we have some good mail, at least, maybe.
Yeah. Well, Jacob, I'm getting to know your preferences. I don't think you want to hear about pedantic werewolf versus wolfman letters anymore.
Oh, God, no.
Okay.
I can't do it. I can't hear another one.
Okay. Do you not want to hear about whether or not Jack should be narrating the stories anymore because that decreases the suspense of whether or not he will survive?
I get their argument, but I think it's still stupid.
Okay, then I have one letter to read.
Okay.
Hey, I like your shirt.
Nice.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I just discovered them. TKO.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. They've got some fantastic stuff, and their format's pretty cool. So
I like their model for how they do that.
It's cool. Yeah. It's a cool model.
Yeah, it's
I want to get that one that's like a Fu Manchu type of adventure, but it's written by an Asian person. So hopefully it's handled with a little more care.
Yeah.
Because I love those old pulp adventures, but they are kind of hard to read as far as the racial depictions go.
Yes. Yeah, no, that one's definitely good. Definitely does that. That's Z Chun, I think, is the writer on that. And who's also, he's got several titles there, but he's sort of one of the co-founders. And yeah, his stuff's really good. I really enjoyed Sarah, the Garth Ennis, Russian female sniper team in World War II, with I feel like I'm going to get, I think it's Steve Epting on the art.
Okay.
Yeah, it's, I really, really like that. Like I sat down to read the first part of that, and I just read the entire series and, all 6 issues or whatever. So yeah, no, they're great. They've got some really good stuff. And I think they're like on their 3rd wave of books that they've put out. So they've also started doing some like short, I'm not sure how many pages, 15 to 20 page little short books that are like $3. That are kind of like ash can size.
Very cool.
So yeah, super cool stuff.
Well, I need to read that werewolf book, Lonely Days, Savage Nights, I think is what it's called. I bought that quite a while ago, and I still have yet to read it, but I want to talk about it on the show and tag them because I think that they're a really cool business.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so here's our letter. Dear Marvel, the other day I obtained not 1, but 2 issues of Werewolf by Night. For some reason, number 19 was a month late, so I managed to buy it and number 20 on the same day. This prompted me to write. I buy 42 Marvel comics, and this is one of my favorites. I thought I might make a few suggestions. I think if you buy the entire line, you get to make a suggestion. That seemed like a totally reasonable.
Seems fair.
I don't normally editorialize during the letters, but wow. Okay. First and most of all, bring Topaz back. She is the perfect girlfriend for Jack, with or without her mental powers. Second, get rid of this committee once and for all. They have been hanging around for far too many issues. Third, keep Raymond Coker around, whether as friend or foe. Have either Jack or him move out of their apartment building so they will not be constantly running into each other. Well, that got solved this issue, didn't it? Last but not least, you realize that sooner or later, you will have to do a story about Lissa turning into a werewolf. In number 17, she mentioned that she will be 18 in 6 months, not counting 17, 18, and 19, which were the 3 days in which she told Jack that, and not counting number 20, which was brought on by the cat's eye ring, nifty little ornament, and allowing 1 issue for each day. She should turn 18 by about issue number 38. Perhaps you could have a few tales about her as a werewolf and then have her receive some sort of magic cure, most likely a one-shot cure so that Jack couldn't use it too. That would make for a really touching self-sacrifice scene. Till Galactus eats the great refuge, make mine Marvel. Keith Helms, Memphis, Tennessee. You want any feedback before I read the response?
I got to hear the response. I really want to see what Roy's going to say to this guy.
Okay. Glad to hear Werewolf is one of your favorite mags, Keith. We'll try to keep it that way, and just to show you we mean it, first, Topaz is coming back soon. Keep your eyes open over the next couple of issues. Second, the committee has been done in, once and for all, we think. Raymond Coker will be popping up from time to time. Finally, we think you've actually overestimated the time before Lissa's 18th birthday. Chances are we'll be learning whether or not she's destined to sprout hair and fangs well before WBN number 38. Satisfied?
All right.
Something that was kind of a general, it's got some Jacob in it. Where's Topaz? I want Topaz.
Well, yeah, that is my rallying cry. But yeah, I like how they had very specific stuff to say, but had to preface it by being like, dude, I buy all your shit. So you have to listen to my really extended, specific suggestions on what you should be doing with this book, and what you're doing is wrong. So yeah, it's not the worst letter I've ever heard, but
no. But I like that he kind of shot his wad where he's like, what you should do is when Lyssa turns into a werewolf, do it for this many issues, and blah, 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 and then blah, 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 blah. And he's like, oh, well, now I don't want to read that. I already figured it all out.
Oh, God.
So I'll spare you the pedantic one. The pedantic ones, they're both kind of,
jeez.
Certain people, right? The people are just waiting for the internet to be invented.
So, but I mean, is Roy at least getting more and more angry with the more people that are just like, well, it really shouldn't be called werewolf. It actually should be called man-wolf and wolf man. And yeah, I'm waiting for him to just get super pissed off.
I'm going to check this response just to see if it's funny, because I wouldn't read the letter. Oh, well, this guy was like, maybe there could be 3 types of werewolves. One where you can turn into a full werewolf with your complete intellect. One where you're like Jack is, where you're half beast, half man with no intellect. And one where I forgot what it was. But the response is just kind of like, from a purely visual point of view, we don't think it'd be near as exciting to portray Jack as an ordinary wolf. So the chances are pretty slim that we'd attempt it. But we like your overall theory. And we're particularly intrigued by your third variety of werewolf you postulated. What was that one? Sorry. Yeah, they wanted to be a German Shepherd.
Yeah.
The partial or incomplete werewolf makes an incomplete metamorphosis into a form between a man and wolf, becoming mentally subhuman and bestial. Perhaps there's also a third type which does not change physically, but merely has delusions of being a wolf. No, thank you.
No.
Anyway, no. Pass. Hard pass.
Oh boy. Yeah, maybe a nice palate cleanser of what we've all been reading and enjoying. Talk about good comics. Talk about stuff we've been reading.
Yeah.
Yes, Matt, I'd like you to start this one, and I need you to remind me of something. We've talked about this when you've been on the other podcast I did. I forget the name every time, and I keep I want to say it starts with a K, and it's like G.I. Joe-ish in a...
Copra?
Copra, yeah.
God damn, I got to write that down. I'm writing that down this time. Every
with a
time
C.
I forget. Copra. Oh, it's a C.
Yeah.
Copra. So it's like Cobra, but with a P.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay.
Yes.
Copra. And that's by...
Michel Fiffe. Fiffe.
Oh, it's not American? No, that's okay.
Yeah. He's American.
Is he, though? Did he order French fries or Freedom fries in 2002? Because I know what I ordered.
Well, yes. Yeah. Are any of us Americans then?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I'm still reading that book. That is amazing. He actually was... let's see. So he started off self-publishing that, and then eventually took it to Image for a handful of issues, and then I think pandemic effects or something started doing it just all himself again. But it, that's killer. He just told an issue all in splash pages with like this total variety of styles across all of them. And for folks who don't know that book, Copra is a sort of John Ostrander inspired Suicide Squad tribute. A little bit that has evolved into something like way more than that. It's now on about issue 38. So it's just crazy, unhinged superhero action, rendered in a style that is completely singular and incredible. And it's mixed media. Sometimes you can see like the canvas he's working on actually in the panels. Other panels are just straight up old school comics. So I highly recommend that. I love Deadly Class still by Rick Remender and Wes Craig, that some folks might have seen the TV show of, but that's about a school high school assassins. That is amazing. And boy, what else? Something is Killing the Children. Is
I need to read that still.
Yeah,
so good.
So good. And it's not surprising anymore because it's been good for so long. But the fact it stays good, and I guess my horror experience, I'm more of like a sci-fi action, and what would you call it? Like maybe light horror connoisseur. But so my horror experience is usually that after a while I get kind of bored or something, or just fails to surprise. But that book is just constantly evolving and constantly terrifying. And somehow, even when it reads in like 3 minutes, you feel like you've got a whole meal. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, like that, the trick of that, whatever that magic trick is amazing. Cause I never put it, I can read those, and I go back through them, of course, but like you can go through the story very quickly. But I never feel like, I didn't get my money's worth or whatever. Like it's always like a huge hit. And Erica Slaughter, the main character of that book, is probably my favorite new character in anything in quite a long time. Like she's just amazing. So and the quiet moments in that book are just as good or better than all the horror moments. So yeah, I think that's probably the last, I guess, through quarantine. My comics reading has been sort of, because of the market being how it's been, or the industry being how it's been, rather, with releases and everything. That's probably the one I've stayed the most consistent with, and that I feel like I've read the most of. Like it's felt like it's been pretty regular still. So that's sort of, I guess, probably the top three that I've got in my head. I'm sure I'm leaving something out, but
that's by James Tynion the Fourth. Is that how you say his name?
I think that's right. Yes. And he's got a bunch of DC stuff that I haven't checked out yet, but that every time I read an issue of Something That's Killing the Children, I'm like, I should probably check out his Batman. Like if this is this good, I should probably dig in a little bit more. And then, the other thing I read, I read this a while ago because I got to get an early look at it, but there's a book called Chasing the Bird. That's a Charlie Parker biography. And it's not, biography is maybe not the right term. So there's an writer artist named Dave Chisholm, who's amazingly talented and has had a couple books out so far, but he worked directly with Charlie Parker's estate to do this book. And it's about a super specific time when he was in California. So it's not a full, boring biopic style biography. It's a real focused, and it's got chapters where the visual style of each chapter is influenced by the person whose perspective it's from. And Dave is also like a super trained jazz musician who went to school for it, has played tons and tons of concerts and everything. And his ability to translate music to the page is, I don't feel I've ever seen anything like it. It's super cool. So I would highly recommend that. And I think Z2 is the publisher on that. But it's called, Chasing the Bird is the name of that book. So everybody should give that a look too.
Does Z2 publish a lot of music related stuff? Because
I'm not sure. Actually, I've got it right here. Hold on.
Okay, because I actually was just rereading a 2017 Free Comic Book Day thing that they put out, which was a prequel kind of setup story for a series that was kicking off, and the issue was called The Legend of Frank Bonesteel, and it was about the 70s music producer. Well, it's about this guy who plays piano in this dive bar, who's kind of a fallen musician, and he doubles as a PI. And this whacked out producer comes and says, this dude who had this huge Eagles knockoff song stole this from me. We were doing coke. He traded coke for I recorded his demo for coke. We were high as fuck. I played on some shit. 6 months later, he hits with this song, and it's my fucking song. So I'm paying you as a PI to find this dude. And so he has this wild adventure, and they don't have cars, so they have to get this. He lives in a hotel where he plays piano, this shithole like Tropicana, like motel, and they have to borrow a car from like a former horror host. She's like a Mela Nurmi type of like she hosted LA horror like Fright Night stuff in the 50s and 60s. So she's this lesbian person who just lives there and lets them use her car because she's bored. So they're driving on this crazy adventure. It feels like a Coen Brothers movie. And it was setting up this series that's set in modern times called Murder Ballads. And it had a peak of that at the end of the Free Comic Book Day issue. And I couldn't give a shit about Murder Ballads. Like, it was super noir, super heavy, super like overwrought. And I was like, I want to go back to the 70s fun people that were going around having crazy PI adventures that were not private detectives.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. But that's the only time I've ever heard of Z2 was my point. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no, it is that. So, yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think I think maybe I've got a couple books of theirs. One's just a straight up sci-fi thing. So I think that this is the only other one. So I'm not sure I understand their deal, but they did multiple types of collections for this. Like I've got a nice like oversized hardcover with a big slipcase. There's just a more standard trade style version. So yeah, it's maybe someone to watch, I suppose.
Yeah.
Did
you ever read that Brian Epstein book?
Yeah. Yeah. Was it called The Fifth Beatle, or am I thinking of was that the?
I feel like that's what it was called.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I did read that. That was good.
Surprised how well music and comics as media go together.
Yeah.
But I understand what you're saying. Like, I'm sure a masterful hand can, like that guy probably does it better because he does have like, theory and all that kind of stuff going on. But
totally. Yeah.
It's weird how it's comics encapsulates so much of different media types, but audio. Like it's like the worst thing that it does.
Yep. Yeah, no, he does a really great job with just some of and it even worked. Like I got to look at it early, and a lot of it was still not colored, and it's still translated. Like it's just it was super interesting. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. That's probably the best like graphic novel type thing I read in the last year or so. Like just complete collection all at once. So yeah, I think I'm trying to think if there's other stuff I've been digging, but I think that's mostly what comes to mind. I have been liking the Rorschach Tom King series that's been coming out, which
I was curious about that.
Yeah, me too. I'm wondering. I wanted to check that out.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, and I don't understand it, but like I'm never bored, and it's interesting. So,
who's doing the art on that? Is that Fornes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm like a sucker for his stuff too. So
his stuff is so good.
Yeah. So it's got like and I'm probably influenced by what I just watched, but I just like rewatched The Parallax View, and so I feel like the Rorschach book has a real like 70s conspiracy thriller vibe to it.
Very cool.
Yeah. So I think definitely worth checking out. And it's about halfway done, I think, or halfway through 12 issues. So
okay. And you are a pretty big Tom King fan.
Yes. I mean, I have the works I enjoy the most, but yeah, overall, yes.
What do you think of? Have you been reading Strange Adventures as well?
Yeah, I have. It took a couple issues for me to get into it, and then I felt like after that I was enjoying it quite a lot. I think it just maybe wasn't what I expected, the way that it just kind of came out of the gate, but then either it got to be more what I expected or I adapted to it. I'm not sure which. But I think the art combo is really great with the Shaner and the Mitch Garrett stuff, like collaborating on bringing it together. And yeah, it's interesting. Like, and maybe Matt and I have talked about this too. Like, I feel like he works best in that 12 issue format.
Yeah.
The Tom King stuff. And I mean, I think he thinks that too. I don't think but Yeah, so I feel like he's kind of, to me, it feels like he's really working through a lot of the stuff that he went through, and that happens in Omega Men, it happens in Mr. Miracle. It seems like it's happening in Strange Adventures, and so in the way that people say like writers kind of rewrite the same story over and over again, I feel like he's doing that. So each one's like a little bit of a different insight into that experience. So I think I enjoy it for that. I mean, for me, it's always going to be hard to beat Omega Men and Mr. Miracle, and Sheriff of Babylon are sort of to just come right out with, and Vision, I guess, like to come out with those like 4 just absolute classics out of the gate. It's going to be hard to.
And Heroes in Crisis.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's funny because that's what I've been reading, is catching up on Strange Adventures. And yeah, it's good. It's not Mr. Miracle good, but and again, Tom King definitely has a wheelhouse. We're going to be, whatever book he's doing, we're going to be talking about the effects and after effects of war. And that's definitely, and Strange Adventures is going a little bit more into, what constitutes a war crime, who is a war criminal. And I like that. I agree with you. I think after the 3rd issue or so, I think it really took off. Yeah. And Doc Shanner's doing the flashback art, and then Mitch Gerrits is doing the main present time art, and it's great. I think that's the strongest thing that book has going for it. It's just those 2 like top tier artists, and King's really masterfully kind of weaving them together. So I think it's really turning into one of my favorite books of the year.
Cool. Yeah.
I hate the idea that the most eyes are on like Heroes in Crisis and Batman, because I think they're his weakest works.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's ever churned out. I mean, everything else he's written I like, and it's a bummer to me that some people will never see. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, did you read Omega Men?
No, I've not read that yet. I forgot that he did an Omega Men run.
Yeah, like second thing he did, I think. Yeah.
Yes, I went back and reread it because I can't, at some point I ordered the collection. It was sitting on the shelf for a while, and it was just like, I want to sit down and I'll go through it, kind of like I was talking about with that other book. Thought I'd read like 1 issue, and I just spent the entire day rereading it. And I think like I love Mr. Miracle, and I think it's on reread it was almost equivalent to Mr. Miracle in my take. Like it's pretty powerful, especially when you read it all at once. And I don't know. It's just sort of harsh. I think he does an amazing job handling like an ensemble, which I don't think we've seen in other stuff quite as much.
Yeah, definitely.
And in Omega Men, like the balance, like people say team books are really hard to write. I feel like he just nails it in that book right out of the gate. So yeah, I definitely would give that one a look too.
What banner was that under, like the New 52 or something, or what was that? Was that part of when was this approximately?
It was
not Rebirth? It's older.
Well, it was. I get my DC events confused. I think it was right around the time that Sheriff of Babylon was happening. Yeah, exactly. So it must have been 2000. I'm probably just going to get this wrong no matter what. 2012, 2014, maybe. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But right, like his start at DC, I am pretty sure.
Okay.
So
I'll look it up. I've never read any Omega Men, to be honest.
I hadn't either. Like, and you don't need to have any history. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yep. So
right on.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you guys?
I'm still in Planet of the Apes archives world, so I have nothing to contribute. Jacob?
Well, like I was saying, I'm catching up on Strange Adventures. I'm catching up on a few things. I hadn't been to the shop in about a month, and so I'm kind of going through the stack a little bit. I'm catching up on the X books, which, Hickman's doing really cool shit. Like, the X-Men are kind of exciting again. And I've actually really enjoyed the X Factor book. It's written by Leah Williams and David Baldion. And it's kind of the dark horse of the X books. Like but it's becoming my favorite. Like, it's just really cool. It it's young people interacting and acting like young people that are, actually relatable. Like it reminds me of more of a Claremont vibe than anything else that's going on in the Hickman X-Men universe right now. But I really, really enjoy it. So I've been catching up on that. I've been catching up on my Immortal Hulk. Which is great. I don't know where he's going. Like, I know he's going to something that is going to end, and I know it's going to end pretty soon. Like, I don't think he's going much past 50 issues. And, but I trust Al Ewing. Like, he's done an amazing job so far. But yeah, these last few issues have been, I don't know, it just seems like a bunch of weird monster fights and just not as much of the story pacing that we've kind of and he's all about the big story, and it's this huge story that literally spans 1 trillion years, and so I'm waiting for that kind of to connect the tissue at the end. So with this last one, I'm like, okay, dude, you only have like 4 issues, you gotta reel it in.
Since that collection, The Destroyer of Worlds, or whatever it was, like where we jumped ahead and saw the ultimate end, I felt like it's never really been the same since. Like, it's been interesting things like that. What's that thing called? Xenu or whatever it was called, the other Hulk.
Yes. Yeah.
That was cool. And some kind of cool meta stuff, but like nothing really feels like it has that weight that the Destroyer of Worlds stuff had.
Yeah, that's why I'm just waiting for him to bring it around. Because, it's funny. I've gone back and reread those first couple volumes, and with like Hulk in Hell and different things like that. And that's some fucking literature. Like, that's amazing shit. Yeah. Like, it's really powerful. And I do feel like after issue 25 and the big jump ahead in time, it's floundered slightly, but still really smart. I love Joe Bennett's art, and I fucking love Al Ewing, and I love the letters column in that. In Immortal right now,
I don't know if I've really dug into the letters column. Yeah,
it's cool. I really enjoyed
the library, so I don't get letters. You want to call me and read me like the best ones, and we can talk about them and laugh?
I absolutely will.
Does Roy still respond?
He does. It's Roy Thomas. He responds to all letters to Marvel still. Yeah.
That's a great book. I've never really dug into any Hulk stuff, and that got me going back and reading some of the Peter David stuff, and because I just wanted some more, which is of course completely different. But
it's completely different. Yeah, but I love it. That's the interesting thing is that I don't think the Gray Hulk was the Gray Hulk was kind of my first Hulk. Like the first actual issues of Hulk I got were the Peter David Gray Hulk. The Joe Fixit era. Like before, I'd seen him in like Secret Wars, and I liked the Bill Bixby show and stuff, but I didn't actually buy any of the original title until the Peter David Gray Hulk. So I'm always going to have a soft spot for that stuff. Yeah. I think it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
That's one thing I love about the Hulk as a character is it's kind of a cipher for whatever person with a vision wants to do with it, right? I mean, so a Peter David or an Al Ewing can step up and do these big, huge stories, and it fits. It's like the Hulk is elastic and allows these things to happen like this that make it interesting.
I love what Al Ewing's done to actually bring back the character of Joe Fixit, but more in a banner body. It's like we're not seeing the Gray Hulk a lot in the Ewing book, but we're seeing the character of Joe Fixit, who was really entertaining. This kind of like Vegas, tough guy, kind of swindler, and it's great. It's one of my favorite Hulk personas. So I love that Ewing's brought that back, but in a human banner body. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yes.
Matt, thank you so much for joining us this week to talk about your cool new project and Werewolf by Night.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
So we're going to include a link for the Kickstarter campaign in the notes, and folks can also go to thoughtscapecomics.com, and there's an easy way to jump to the campaign and support this project, correct?
Yep, that's just my comics website, and you can check stuff out there, and just got a giant link up on the homepage for going over to the Kickstarter.
Splendid. And so this just started like 2 days ago. You've got a pretty good chunk so far.
Yeah.
Support. I'm very excited to see that. How long is this campaign going?
It is running until May 2nd. So all of April and a little bit into the following month. So yeah, plenty of time. We're at about 40% of our goal right now, but as I talked about earlier, if we can go over the goal, that doesn't hurt, and will maybe get us further down the line a little bit faster. So definitely appreciate folks backing it and spreading the word. And they can grab any of my way too many tweets to retweet and do that if they like. So yeah, definitely appreciate folks checking it out.
And we mentioned last episode, in advance of you coming on, that you can be found on Instagram and Twitter at MattMLPDX.
Yes.
On both those platforms there.
Yep.
And folks, I really think you're going to dig what you see. You can probably see some samples of it on the Kickstarter campaign page.
Yep.
Again, Jacob and I got to read it today, and I was blown away by it. I'm so excited for it. And if we get some of the stretch goals, you might see me get killed or something, right, in a future issue. Or how are we going to do that?
I will make that an actual stretch goal. If we hit the thing, we will put an actual "We Kill Matt Hell" on page stretch goal. It's done.
Oh.
Consider it done.
So many people just got nipple and true erections right there.
Yeah, if it's square bound and you die in it, Matt, I'm totally in.
So North America just got interested.
Perfect. It's what everybody's been waiting for. Yeah. No, let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Cool. Thoughtscape Comics on Kickstarter, folks. You got to check this out. It is some fucking cool sci-fi anthology stuff. You will love it.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Glad you guys
Thank you, Matt.
Yep.
So we'll be back next week, just me and Jacob, to talk about Werewolf by Night, issue number 25. Till we meet again, neath the full moon, furry ones, here's howling at ya.